Hello. The video that I'm doing right now is Jupiter. This was a request, guys. This was a request. Now, I'm going to say this. If you look on my channel and you have, you don't see, you want to make a video because you don't see the video, the topic that you want me to discuss, okay? And you can tell me and I will do the video. Let's just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind. But just make sure you look through the channel first to see that you don't see the video um, of what it is that you're looking for me to do. Okay, so right now, this one is a request. And I know I haven't done this. This is Jupiter oppose the partner or your partner's or a partner's first house, the Ascendant. Okay, Jupiter oppose the Ascendant. And this is the thing. This one is a bit straightforward, more than some of the other synastry aspects. I feel that the Jupiter in this relationship, this synastry aspect, I would say, it almost seems as if there is some sort of, I don't want to say parent, but then again, I can't say parent. Usually Saturn represents like a parent. But no, this can feel like some sort of, where I want to go with this, a, like, like one person is the fixer-upper. Usually that's Jupiter. And then it's like the ascendant person is acting as the adolescent child, client, patient. Jupiter acting as like the doctor, counselor, mentor, spiritual advisor, pastor, or something like that. That's what it comes off like. Because, this could be a good thing, because it could be a good thing or an annoying thing. It just depends, because initially it can start off like, these two can click due to their shared experiences or interest in each other's experiences. So even if their experiences are not shared, it could be something like, one individual may be experiencing something, and then the other one comes along and can assist them through that experience, because maybe they've had experience similar, or they are studied or learned or cultured in some type of way. And this can also bring this aspect can also bring in shared interests, as far as, or should I say this? Because it's not necessary, it doesn't have to be a shared interest. It could be an interest in general, between both of them. But the differences, the different aspects that's playing out, or the different experiences that's playing out associated with that brings a similar outcome. Okay, but it could be a different way they got there, or a different way, some sort of different culture. But if it's similar cultures, it could be like, so it could be something slightly different, like a different understanding, a different perspective, a different viewpoint. Okay, just about looking at things, experiencing life, etc. And this could be the point of interest, because a lot of times attraction can come when we seek or interact with differences, just the curiosity, which is, I feel like there's this major curiosity between the two. But what ends up happening is, it can feel almost like I want to say the Jupiter person can be a bit overbearing sometimes with their experiences. It's almost like, okay, well, you know what though, I do get that you lived life, or you're living your life, and you have your own way of looking at things, and you have your own experiences, but at the same time, I see it as if you do it this way. And mind you, Jupiter is usually a pretty, could be a pretty open-minded individual. or energy, period. But it can also be, kind of dogmatic at the same time, depending on what sign it's in and depending on the environmental influences of the individual. You get what I'm saying? So it could, even if Jupiter is not intending to be that way, Jupiter could come off that way. So Jupiter could really, push their point, push their belief, push. It could seem to the ascendant person that Jupiter is really trying to like lecture them or acts as this role, like a certain role model, which is they can be a role model, but at the same time, it depends on how the ascendant person is viewing it. Like if the ascendant person that could be something that the ascendant person likes about the Jupiter person, but at the same time, the ascendant person can be like, well, in certain instances, I don't really want you to try to tell me how I should do something or another way I could have done it or whatever. I just want to be, like I just want to just be sometimes, So the ascendant person could feel like they're like Jupiter is sometimes overstepping their boundaries or their role when it comes to the way that they would do something, the way that they would handle a situation, the way that they would pursue it, the way that they would look at it. And the Jupiter person is just like, I'm just trying to give you insight. But the ascendant person can feel as if, they question sometimes if, they're not really what Jupiter wants. Like, it's like, well, does Jupiter prefer, something else? Okay, so let's take the cultural dynamic into play. So let's say this is a situation where we have opposing cultures or something, like an opposing culture coming together, or like a different race or a different look or a different background, heritage, whatever. It is not limited to this, but I'm just using this as an example. And the ascendant person could sometimes feel like, okay, like, would Jupiter prefer to be with their culture or like their race, or like an older person, a younger person? It's like sometimes the ascendant person will question Jupiter's intentions because they feel as if Jupiter is, bringing them, information or teaching them, how you want to put it, playing this mentor role and like trying to make them into something different or make them into something that they're not. And Jupiter could be like, well, I'm just seeing the potential in you and where you can be, and the way things could be, or your potential. And the ascendant person could appreciate that or could not, depending on their motivations in life, where they're at in life, because remember, this is opposing the ascendant. Now, the good thing is that Jupiter, if it's opposing the ascendant, is conjunct the descendant, which is the seventh house. So I will say this, relationship wise and partnership wise, they could be pretty good. They could, bring joy, prosperity, different experiences into each other's lives. And it could be very strong in, passion in that they, have between each other, and desire. And the way that I see this, though, a lot of times there could be lessons involved, but not necessarily restrictive lessons. Like, the lessons is not supposed to restrict them. The lessons is supposed to like help them grow and help them progress. And so where it could be a source of discomfort if you're looking or coming from an individualistic aspect, like in the relationship. Okay, well, the ascendant person could be like, well, I'm my own person, I'm an individual, I'm with you, but see me for who I am. Or the Jupiter person could be like, well, I'm only trying to help you. Or the Jupiter person could sometimes even feel like maybe the ascendant person doesn't really value what they bring, educational wise, spiritual wise, just air advice, where they're trying to head. You know, they could, even though that's not necessarily the truth, that if they're separating themselves and they're looking at themselves as these individuals, yes, which is you are, I get that. It becomes more, the opposition between the Jupiter and Ascendant becomes more of a how should I say it? It could become more of a source of division versus togetherness. But if you come together with what is best for the relationship, how do you progress together, you know, then it could become a powerful conduit for growth, for expansion, for, but you will see these two possibly, you know, where they do better is, you know, being open to, open-minded, like learning about different cultures, traveling together, you know, incorporating the experiences that they have, and or even you understanding that they're individual experiences, but saying like, how can we form and make and create new experiences together? And you know, I feel like the Jupiter person in this situation has a lot to offer the Ascendant person as far as development wise, when it comes to themselves, when it comes to like their perspective and point of view in the world and how they approach that. But at the same time, you know, I feel like the Jupiter person can also, you know, maybe kind of refrain from that if, and you know, if the Ascendant person isn't really asking, they could make some type of pact, like, okay, well, just let me know, like, when you need some sort of insight. Even though Jupiter is not going to be able to help itself, I'm telling you. And this does not make Jupiter the wrong person or the bad person in this situation. I want you to understand that. That's not what I'm saying. You know, it's just pretty straightforward, and you know, how it could be, what role one or the other could be playing. So they definitely can meet in a situation to where it's like one is like the teacher, the mentor, the counselor, the doctor, the influential one, and the other one is like the predecessor, if I'm using the correct word. But this has nothing, this can really show like actually a strong partnership. I don't feel like it's not anything that is necessarily going to break each other up. It's not really like that. You know, I just feel like it's depends on the individuals, because it's like, are y'all single? I see people in relationships all the time to where they're like, they you know, pride themselves off of their individualism and what that stands for, what that means, and their experiences, and they don't want anybody to take that away from them. They could look at it as a form of control, like somebody's trying to control them, or whatever. You know, even though that's not necessarily what's going on. You see? Okay, so this has been Jupiter opposed the Ascendant Synastry. I'm Butterfly Light. I will return.